Imagine for a moment that you woke up tomorrow morning and with one single shift in your mindset, one single action, the way people look at you, the way they speak to you, the way they treat you, completely changed. Imagine entering a room and no longer feeling like you have to fight for respect, no longer feeling like you have to beg for recognition, no longer shrinking your presence so others can feel comfortable. Imagine people noticing you, not because you demanded it, but because you radiated it. There is one thing you can do, one change so profound yet so simple that it alters the way the world responds to you. It does not require wealth. It does not require status. It does not require connections. What it requires is courage. The courage to stand in your own power, the courage to no longer betray yourself, the courage to show the world that you know who you are. You see, people are mirrors. They don't treat you according to your worth. They treat you according to the worth you place upon yourself. If you show up small, timid, apologizing for existing, they will reflect that back to you. If you show up strong, grounded, unshakable, they will mirror that too. The world bows to those who refuse to shrink. The shift begins when you decide deep within your spirit that you are no longer available for disrespect. You are no longer available for being treated as if you are less. You are no longer available for a life of being overlooked. Once you make that decision, once you embody that energy, people will feel it. They will not even understand why, but something in the air around you will shift. When you walk with quiet confidence, when you stop over-explaining, when you stop begging people to understand you, when you stop sacrificing your soul to be liked, a new chapter begins. Suddenly, the same people who once dismissed you, doubt you, or use you, start to take a step back. They begin to see that you are no longer who you were yesterday. You have risen. And when you rise, the world has no choice but to respond. This one thing you must do is not external. It is not about what clothes you wear, what car you drive, or how many people applaud you. It is an internal decision, a line drawn in the sand of your spirit. From this moment on, I will carry myself as one who is worthy. From this moment on, I will honor my own presence. From this moment on, I will not betray my soul for anyone's comfort. Do this once, truly, completely, with your whole being, and watch how the atmosphere around you changes. Watch how conversations shift. Watch how people pause before speaking to you. Watch how your energy commands attention without you having to demand it. Because respect is never truly given. It is earned by the way you carry yourself, the way you protect your boundaries, the way you refuse to be less than who you are. Most people go their entire lives without discovering this truth. They think that if they work harder, if they give more, if they please everyone, eventually they will be respected. But the truth is, the more you give away your power, the less respect you will receive. People do not respect those who make themselves endlessly available, endlessly apologetic, endlessly desperate for approval. They respect those who stand firm like a mountain, who bend but do not break, who serve but do not sell their soul. So ask yourself today, how do people treat you? And even more importantly, how are you teaching them to treat you? Every time you tolerate disrespect, you are teaching them it is acceptable. Every time you laugh off an insult, you are teaching them you are fine with being diminished. Every time you overextend yourself while abandoning your own needs, you are teaching them you do not value your time, your energy, your life. But when you begin to carry yourself differently, when you honor yourself, When you respect your own presence, the message you send is undeniable. You no longer have to shout. You no longer have to beg. Your energy speaks for you. The greatest shift you will ever experience is not in how the world changes. It is in how you change, and how the world has no choice but to respond to that change. This is why so many people marvel when someone reinvents themselves. They say, "You've changed." And the truth is, yes, you have. You've stepped into your rightful power, and now they can no longer approach you the way they used to. Do this once. Decide once and for all who you are and what you will no longer tolerate. Carry yourself as though you already are the person you wish to be. Respect your own time as though it is sacred. Protect your energy as though it is priceless. Speak as though your words have weight. Move as though your presence is power. Do this once, and you will never have to explain yourself again. People will feel it. This is not arrogance. This is alignment. There is a vast difference between being arrogant and being grounded in your worth. Arrogance screams, "Look at me, I am better than you." True self-respect whispers, "I know who I am and I do not need to prove it." One repels, the other attracts. One creates resentment, the other creates respect. And when you embody the second, the way people treat you transforms. The reason most people never experience this transformation is because they are afraid. Afraid of losing people, afraid of being misunderstood, afraid of being called selfish, proud, or difficult. But let me tell you something. When you live your life constantly afraid of how others will label you, you become a prisoner. And no prisoner commands respect. Freedom is not only the absence of chains, it is the presence of self-respect. And when you respect yourself, you set a new standard for every single person in your life. That is why this single decision has the power to alter everything. People may not always agree with you, but they will feel your strength. They may not always like you, but they will think twice before crossing you. You must understand this truth. People treat you based on the value you demonstrate, not the value you silently hope they will notice. If you undervalue yourself, they will too. If you dismiss your own feelings, they will dismiss them as well. If you pretend that everything is fine when it is not, they will believe your silence is permission to continue mistreating you. But the moment you shift, truly shift, you send a new message. You no longer smile when someone insults you. You no longer entertain conversations that drain your spirit. You no longer explain yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You no longer trade your peace for temporary approval. That one decision, that one act of courage changes the frequency of your entire life. Do you know why certain people enter a room and without saying a word, everyone notices? It is not the clothes they wear or the money in their account. It is their energy. It is the way they stand tall, the way they take up space unapologetically, the way they move with quiet confidence. And the beautiful truth is, this energy is not reserved for the rich, the famous, or the powerful. It is available to you if you are willing to do the inner work. But here is the challenge. When you begin to treat yourself differently, not everyone will celebrate it. Some people will push back. Some will accuse you of changing. Some will say you've become cold, arrogant, or unkind. Do not be shaken by this. They are not upset because you have changed. They are upset because you no longer allow them to treat you in the way that benefits them. They are upset because the version of you that tolerated their disrespect no longer exists, and that is a victory. This is where your courage must rise higher than your fear. You must be willing to let people fall away if they cannot honor the new standard you have set for your life. You must be willing to walk alone for a season rather than walk surrounded by people who profit from your weakness. You must be willing to release approval in order to gain respect. Do this once, just once. Look in the mirror and tell yourself, from this day forward, I will no longer betray myself. Feel those words. Carry them in your spirit. Live them in your actions. And soon enough, the way people treat you will begin to shift. Your relationships will change. Some will grow deeper because they are built on mutual respect. Others will dissolve because they were built on your self-abandonment. Opportunities will change. You will begin to attract doors that once seemed closed because people will sense your strength and reliability. Even strangers will treat you differently because the energy you radiate will command it. And let me tell you this, once you taste that shift, once you experience how differently the world responds to a person who respects themselves, you will never go back. You will wonder why you ever begged for approval, why you ever explained your worth, why you ever tolerated disrespect. You will realize that the world was always waiting, not for them to see you, but for you to see yourself. The one thing you must do is not loud. It is not flashy. It is not about making declarations on social media or proving anything to anyone. It is quiet, it is sacred, it is internal, it is a decision you carry in your heart, and it transforms everything without you even needing to announce it. Respect yourself and watch how people respect you. Protect your energy and watch how people stop wasting your time. Value your words and watch how people begin to listen when you speak. Stand firm in your truth and watch how people pause before they approach you. This is the power of self-respect. This is the shift that changes everything. The moment you make this decision, you will notice something remarkable. The noise around you begins to fade. The chaos that once consumed your mind loses its grip. Suddenly, you no longer chase after people, no longer beg for a seat at a table that was never built for you. Instead, you build your own table and you invite only those who know how to bring respect with them. Do not underestimate this, because when you respect yourself, you will begin to see the hidden intentions of others more clearly. You will no longer fall for empty promises because your spirit will recognize authenticity. You will no longer cling to people who treat you as an option because your heart will know it deserves to be a priority. You will no longer settle for crumbs of attention because you finally understand you deserve the whole feast of love, honor, and respect. People will notice this change before you even speak. They will notice it in the way you walk, in the way you carry yourself, in the way you pause before responding, in the way you no longer rush to prove yourself. The old you wanted to explain everything. The new you know's explanation is unnecessary. The old you begged for approval. The new you simply shines, and those who can see will see, those who cannot will fade away. The truth is, most people are conditioned to live small. They are trained to apologize for their greatness, to tone down their light so others feel comfortable in the dark. But let me tell you, no one respects a dimmed soul. People may tolerate you when you hide your brilliance, but they will never truly honor you. If you want the world to treat you differently, you must first give yourself permission to stand in your fullness. Do you know why lions are feared in the jungle? It is not only their strength, it is their presence. Even when a lion is silent, even when it is not hunting, the entire jungle respects it. The lion does not roar to prove it is a lion. It simply is. That is the posture you must adopt. Stop roaring for attention. Stop chasing after recognition. Be the lion. Walk with the calm assurance that you know who you are, and let the world adjust to your presence. But this path requires discipline, because every day the world will try to test your boundaries. Every day someone will try to pull you back into your old self, the one who tolerated disrespect, the one who accepted less, the one who played small. You must stand guard over your own soul. You must remind yourself daily, I will not betray myself again. At first, people will be confused. They will say, what happened to you? You used to always be available. You used to always say yes. You used to always laugh at our jokes, even when they cut you down. And you will simply smile, not with arrogance, but with peace, because you know what happened. You woke up, you saw your worth, and now they must either rise to meet your new standard or fall away. This is the beauty of self-respect. It does not chase, it attracts. It does not beg, it commands. It does not scream, it whispers. And the whisper of true self-respect is louder than the shout of desperation. You must also understand that this transformation is not about pride. It is not about believing you are above others. It is about balance. It is about finally putting yourself on the same level of importance as everyone else. For too long, you have placed others on pedestals while lowering yourself to the ground. This is the imbalance that breeds disrespect. When you rise to your rightful height, you create harmony. Others no longer look down on you, and you no longer look up at them. You meet eye to eye as equals. That is where respect is born. And when you live this truth, people will admire you, not because you forced them to, but because you inspired them. They will look at you and think, if they can carry themselves like that, why can't I? You will become a living example of strength, dignity, and courage. Without preaching a single word, your life will preach. Without demanding honor, your presence will demand it. Do this once, just once. Decide today that you will no longer tolerate the old way of being. Decide that your time is valuable, your energy is sacred, your life is not to be wasted. And when you walk into the world tomorrow, watch carefully. You will see the difference. Some people will stumble over their words. Some will soften their tone. Some will suddenly treat you with a respect you have never felt before. And some will leave. Do not mourn their departure. It is proof that your transformation is real. The world respects those who respect themselves. The world follows those who lead themselves. The world honors those who honor themselves. And once you become that person, everything around you shifts. You see, respect is not something you ask for, it is something you embody. And when you embody it, people feel it in their bones. They may not even be able to explain why, but they sense it. They sense that you are no longer someone they can dismiss. They sense that your silence is no longer weakness, but strength. They sense that your kindness is no longer an invitation to be used, but a reflection of discipline and self-control. And the truth is, people test you unconsciously. They push your limits to see if you will bend. They measure how much of yourself you will give away before you say enough. They will try to speak to you in ways that reduce you just to see if you will accept it. But once you decide deeply, unshakably, that you will never again betray your own dignity, the testing ends, because you no longer react the same way. This is why the transformation must begin inside. It is not about fighting every battle, not about shouting at everyone who disrespects you, not about proving your worth in every conversation. It is about carrying a presence that says, without words, I know who I am. When you know who you are, arguments lose their power. Insults lose their sting. Criticism loses its grip. Why? Because you no longer need validation from those who do not see clearly. Think about water. Water does not argue with the rocks in its path. It flows around them, and yet over time, the water shapes the rock quietly, persistently, powerfully. That is what self-respect does. You don't need to shout. You don't need to force. It is your consistency, your refusal to shrink, that changes the landscape around you. But here is a hard truth. Not everyone will clap for you when you rise. Some people are comfortable with you being small because your smallness made them feel bigger. When you grow, it exposes the areas where they refuse to grow. And instead of being inspired, some will resent you. Do not shrink back to make them comfortable again. If your growth threatens them, let them feel threatened. You are not responsible for their comfort. You are responsible for your own destiny. And destiny requires courage. It requires you to walk into rooms where people underestimate you and still stand tall. It requires you to face moments where your boundaries are tested and still hold the line. It requires you to say no, even when saying yes would make you more liked. Destiny is not for the faint of heart, and neither is respect. Do this once, truly once, and you will notice how people's energy toward you shifts. That coworker who used to take credit for your work will hesitate. That friend who always took advantage of your kindness will suddenly fall silent. That relative who always dismissed your dreams will speak with a different tone. Why? Because you changed the contract. You taught them with your actions that the old way no longer exists. And this is important. You don't have to announce the change. You don't have to post it online. You don't have to declare it in loud speeches. The real shift happens quietly, invisibly, in the decisions you make every day. When you stop returning calls that drain you. When you stop saying yes to things that kill your spirit. When you stop apologizing for taking up space, that is where the power lies, in the daily choices that honor who you truly are. And little by little, the world notices. You notice it in the way people look at you, in the way conversations unfold, in the way strangers treat you in passing. Even without knowing your story, they feel your strength. They feel your boundaries. They feel that you are not someone to be overlooked. Remember, these people treat you based on the standard you set, not the standard you wish for. If you want a new level of respect, raise the standard. If you want a new circle of people, raise the standard. If you want a new life, raise the standard. And once you do, everything around you will begin to align with it. There will come a moment after you choose to raise your standard where the silence around you feels loud. People you once called friends may stop calling. Invitations may no longer come. The circle that used to surround you may begin to shrink. And in that silence, a voice will whisper, "Did you make a mistake? Should you go back to the old version of yourself? Should you lower the bar so they will return?" Do not listen to that voice. That voice is fear, not wisdom. That voice wants you to stay in bondage. But freedom requires solitude. The silence you experience is not a punishment. It is a cleansing. The noise has left so that clarity can enter. The wrong people have stepped aside so the right ones can arrive. The emptiness you feel is not the absence of life. It is the space being cleared for something greater. Understand this: when you choose to respect yourself, you no longer belong everywhere. And that is a good thing. You no longer fit in circles that gossip all day because your spirit has risen too high. You no longer fit in groups that thrive on negativity because you have chosen peace. You no longer belong with people who use you because you have discovered your worth. That is not loss. That is transformation. People may label you as distant, as prideful, as unapproachable. Let them talk. Their words are not a reflection of you. They are a reflection of the discomfort your growth has caused them. When you stop being endlessly available, those who depended on your weakness will be angry. Let them be angry. That anger is proof that your boundaries are working. And slowly, something powerful begins to happen. New people, new opportunities, new doors begin to open. People who see your worth without you having to explain it will enter your life. Situations that align with your dignity will find their way to you. The world will start to mirror back to you the respect you first gave yourself. Do you see the power in this? You do not have to chase respect. You do not have to beg for love. You do not have to demand recognition. When you embody respect for yourself, these things begin to find you. The world responds to the signal you send, and when the signal is strong, the response is undeniable. But the test will always come. The world will test whether your respect for yourself is real or temporary. A situation will arise where someone tries to treat you the way they used to, and in that moment, you must decide, do I go back or do I stand firm? And when you stand firm, when you show the world that this change is not a phase, but a new reality, everything begins to solidify. The world respects consistency. It is not enough to decide once and then abandon it tomorrow. You must wake up every day and choose yourself again. Every day, you must remind yourself, I am not available for disrespect. I am not available for betrayal. I am not available for being used. I am only available for what aligns with my worth. This daily choice becomes the foundation upon which your new life is built, and in time, you will see the fruit. You will notice that your relationships are healthier because you no longer settle for less. You will notice that your opportunities are greater because people sense your strength. You will notice that your peace is deeper because you are no longer torn apart by trying to please everyone. And you will notice something even more important. You will begin to truly love yourself, not in a shallow, surface way, but in a deep, unshakable way that no one can take from you. That love, that respect, that power, it all begins with one decision. The decision to stop betraying yourself. The decision to stop living small. The decision to stop waiting for others to value you and to start valuing yourself. Do this once, and the world will never treat you the same again. There is something magnetic about a person who finally understands their worth. It is as if the universe itself bends around them. You can see it in their posture, hear it in their voice, feel it in their presence. They are not louder than anyone else, but somehow their quiet confidence drowns out the noise of the room. They are not trying to impress, yet people lean in closer. They are not seeking attention, yet attention finds them. Why? Because human beings are wired to recognize strength, and true strength does not need to announce itself. It simply exists. It is undeniable. That is why, when you stop betraying yourself, when you begin to carry yourself with dignity, you send out a signal that others cannot ignore. But here's the truth: most people overlook dignity is a daily discipline. You cannot walk with dignity in public if you abandon yourself in private. Respect is not a performance, it is a lifestyle. It shows up in the way you speak to yourself, when no one else is listening. It shows up in the way you spend your time when no one is watching. It shows up in the way you care for your mind, your body, your spirit. If you want the world to treat you differently, you must first treat yourself differently. Stop calling yourself names. Stop saying, "I'm not enough." Stop entertaining thoughts that tear you down. The words you whisper to yourself in secret become the energy you project in public. If you belittle yourself, people will feel it. If you honor yourself, people will feel that too. This is why the greatest battle is not out there. It is in here, within you. The greatest enemy is not the people who disrespect you. It is the voice in your head that tells you to accept it. The war is won when you silence that voice and replace it with truth. The truth that you are worthy. The truth that you are valuable. The truth that you are enough. Not because the world says so, but because your very existence proves it. And once you anchor yourself in that truth, the way people treat you changes without you even asking. Watch what happens when you stop apologizing for existing. Watch what happens when you stop over-explaining your every decision. Watch what happens when you stop begging for scraps of validation. Suddenly, the same people who once dismissed you will begin to treat you with caution, with respect, with recognition. Not because they changed, but because you did. And let me tell you, once you experience this shift, you will never go back. Once you taste the freedom of self, respect, the chains of people, pleasing will no longer fit. Once you feel the power of walking in your worth, the old patterns of shrinking will feel like suffocation. But you must be ready, because this path is not easy. The world is comfortable with the version of you that bends, that yields, that gives until nothing is left. The moment you stand tall, some will try to pull you back down. They will call you selfish because you finally learn to say no. They will call you proud because you finally carry yourself with confidence. They will call you difficult because you refuse to be used. Let them call you whatever they want. Their words cannot touch the fortress you are building within yourself. Remember this, people's opinions of you are shaped by how they benefit from you. If your weakness benefits them, they will call your weakness kindness. If your strength threatens them, they will call your strength arrogance. Do not let their labels define you. Stand firm in your truth. Do this once. Make the decision once, then practice it daily until it becomes who you are. Respect is not a single act. It is a way of life. And when you live it, you no longer have to demand it. It will surround you like an atmosphere. People will feel it before they speak to you. They will sense it before they approach you. And those who cannot honor it will quietly remove themselves from your path. And that, my friend, is the secret. You don't have to fight every battle. You don't have to correct every insult. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. When you embody respect, life itself begins to fight on your behalf. There comes a time in life when you realize that the world is not treating you unfairly. It is treating you exactly the way you allow it to. That truth is hard to swallow. It is easier to blame others, to point fingers, to complain about how people overlook you or use you. But the reality is, every time you tolerated it, you gave them permission. Every time you stayed silent when you should have spoken, you gave them power. Every time you gave and gave while your soul was running empty, you taught them that your well was infinite. But when the day comes that you decide no more, the contract changes. You tear up the old agreement, the one where you allowed others to take advantage of your silence, and you write a new one. An agreement with yourself, an agreement that says, from this day forward, I will treat myself as sacred. From this day forward, I will not give my soul to those who do not value it. From this day forward, I will no longer beg to sit at tables where respect is absent. I will create my own table. And the moment you do this, life begins to rearrange itself. Some people will fall away instantly. Do not chase them. Let them go. Their departure is confirmation that they never belonged in your new chapter. Others will resist for a while, testing to see if you truly mean what you say. But if you remain firm, they will adjust. They will rise to meet the new standard, or they will fade into the background. Either way, your life will be lighter, freer, stronger. This is not theory, this is life. Think back to times when you raised your standards, even just a little. Remember the first time you said no and stood by it. Remember the first time you chose peace instead of drama. Remember the first time you demanded respect instead of letting disrespect slide. Did you notice what happened? People treated you differently. They may not have liked it, but they noticed it. That is proof that this principle works. Now imagine living that way every single day. Imagine walking into every situation, every relationship, every environment with the unshakable knowledge that you are worthy of respect. Imagine never again lowering your standard just to be accepted. Imagine the strength, the peace, the freedom that would flood your life. But understand, this path requires sacrifice. You must sacrifice the need to be liked. You must sacrifice the comfort of blending in. You must sacrifice the illusion that everyone can go with you into your next level. Because not everyone can. Some people are only meant for the old version of you. And when you shed that old skin, they can no longer recognize you. That is why they leave. And that is why you must let them. It will hurt at first. Growth always does. You will feel moments of loneliness, moments of doubt, moments where you wonder if it is worth it. But keep walking. Because on the other side of that pain is power. On the other side of that loneliness is alignment. On the other side of that doubt is destiny. And when you arrive, you will look back and realize the pain was necessary. The losses were necessary. The silence was necessary. Because without them, you would never have discovered your strength. Do this once and your life will never be the same. Make the choice once and everything begins to shift. People will treat you differently because you taught them to. Life will give you more because you showed it. You are ready. And most importantly, you will treat yourself differently because you finally understand that you were never created to be overlooked. You were created to stand tall. You were created to shine. You were created to walk with power, not because of what you have, but because of who you are.